Hi. Hey. What's going on? So if you're anything like me, then you used to love the MCU with your heart and soul. You grew up with it, going to your local theater a few times per year to see the newest Marvel flick. Then you go home and watch videos about that movie, and then you watch even more videos about the comic counterpart to the movie. Then just a few months later, you repeat the process. And after just 18 years of repetition, it becomes an important part in your life and something that you actively look forward to. But then at some point, for some reason that you can't quite put your finger on, you begin to drift away from this routine. You watch less and less of what's put out. Yeah, I mean, you saw the Hall H announcements at Comic-Con, you're excited to see what they turn into, but once they release, you just aren't there to watch it. You think, maybe I'm just getting old, maybe it's just not my thing anymore, maybe just that
there's something wrong with me.
But somehow, for some unknown reason, at the most unexpected time, Thunderbolts makes you remember exactly why you love the MCU. Now, quick spoiler warning, because for me to truly explain why I love this movie so much, I'm gonna have to go into the details, so if you haven't already seen the movie, go to your closest theater, buy a ticket to the soonest showing, and go show the suits that these are the types of movies that we want out of them. When this movie was first announced, it really just slipped my mind. I was like, oh, cool. It's a Marvel
Suicide Squad.
These guys are cool. It could be cool. I mean, I was one of the strongest supporters of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I loved what they did with John Walker. I was really intrigued by their choice to bring back Ghost. I was a big fan of Red Guardian and Black Widow, thought Yelena was awesome in her 2 appearances. Yeah, I mean, this could definitely be cool. But at no point did I ever think that Thunderbolts had the potential to become one of the best films in the MCU, competing with things like Guardians and the Avengers itself. There weren't many details at release, but as we started inching towards the release of this movie, we're getting news that they're embracing practical effects. Okay, they haven't really done that since Iron Man 1. That's kind of sick. And then, damn, they actually just center off the second tallest building in the world just like that. And then they blew up a building? Holy shit, this movie might actually be sick. And then they released a trailer dedicated to the team behind the film in like an A24 style. Jake Schreier.
It's pronounced like Schreier.
Jake Schreier, director of Netflix's Beef, which was a really good series about 2 broken people being forced against each other, is the one directing this movie, and it's written by Joanna Kalo, who's the showrunner of The Goddamn Bear. And this was the point when I was officially 100% on board with this movie. They're actually promoting it by telling us how much of a real movie it is, which on another note, it's kind of off-putting. Like, are the rest of your movies not real movies? Are you poking fun at the fact that you've been stripping artists of their creative freedom for years? It's kind of a weird choice, but But as someone who saw the Marvels in theaters, yeah, I don't really want to talk about it.
We all have things that we regret.
I knew how serious they were about this movie. So flash forward to last week, I got my ticket in the theater that I've been going to my entire life and went with my grandma, who I've been going to see these movies with my entire life, to see the latest Marvel flick. And just by that opening monologue, I knew I was in for something special.
Just a void.
Holy shit. Right off rip, I'm experiencing more valuable character growth than every character in the entirety of Phase 5. Except for Guardians 3, obviously, but Guardians 3 is kind of the exception to 90% of the things I'm gonna say in this video. Yelena has clearly been going through some shit since Black Widow's death. I mean, Nat was the one person that gave her purpose when they reunited, just for her to sacrifice herself in Endgame, of which we got zero grieving process. I mean, the Avengers addressed it for like 3 minutes and then went back to the plot. Yelena had just found the family that was lost from her for so long, only for it to be taken away just as fast, and she's left empty, purposeless.
A void.
She has nothing left. This right here is good character writing, not some off-screen development explained in a fucking Waffle House.
Damn.
Not an over-the-top montage that undercuts the character's emotional arcs from the past like 3 movies with some 5-year-old targeted humor. This is real, raw emotion. It's a natural progression that we saw from Black Widow to Hawkeye and now here. Yelena's just struggling with something that all of us can relate to. And no, we're not all mercenaries forced to kill for a living, but we all lose people. We all know what it's like to feel that emptiness in our chest when we're doing something that we don't love. We all know how Yelena's feeling in this moment, and Jake Schreier lets us explore it with the maturity that it deserves. And as the cherry on top, he delivers this scene with some really good practical stunts, a one-take fight with framing that uses incredibly inspired visual motifs, which foreshadow the later parts of the movie, and makes everybody who is even slightly on the fence about Yelena leading this movie plant their asses firmly in their seats. It's literally the first scene in the movie. I gotta chill out for a minute, but it's hard to. We haven't had a character treated with this much emotional respect since like Black Panther, but that's enough about Yelena for now. Let's talk about the rest of the Suicide Squad. Taskmaster is, oh fuck. Ghost is in this movie from everybody's favorite sequel, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm actually glad that they decided to bring her back in this movie, because now that her character isn't constantly worried about evaporating into the wind or whatever her motivation was in that movie, she's able to breathe a little bit of levity into the rest of the team. Not to mention that she adds the most sauce of any of the characters in every fight scene, especially in the bunker. Red Guardian has some really funny moments in the film. Hell, I mean, everybody did. When I say funny, I genuinely mean it. This movie doesn't have the usual comedy that we come to expect from these movies, like dumb jokes that pause for a laugh track.
Time travel!
But it's actual banter that naturally presents itself as the characters get to know each other and truly speaks to their mental situation. I mean, they're all covering up the pain that they have on the inside, and they use their witty banter just as a coping mechanism. Alexei is the heart of the group and the only one that truly sees the vision of the Thunderbolts as an actual team, which is really well balanced in a group of pessimists like this. Now, John Walker is only second to Yelena with having the best emotional arc in this movie. We see him change from a clearly fabricated, falsely righteous junior varsity Captain America
Walker.
to a genuine part of the family who's initially and surprisingly more willing to work with the team, whether he agrees to it or not, and eventually goes out of his way to try and help other people. But what I love most about his character in this movie is his complexity. They aren't afraid to show him as the asshole that he is for the most part, but they throw in these little moments, these small micro actions that begin to stack of John being a support pillar to the team, helping disable the vault defenses, going along with the escape plan, offering Ghost and Yelena something as simple as a piece of cactus fruit. This does something super unique where it allows for us to see the things that he has done in his past and recognize them as really shitty, yet we still choose to empathize with him. So later in the film, when Bucky takes out the armored trucks in one of the most stylish and unique chase scenes we've seen in the MCU, damn, Bucky, you did not need to cook this hard. Our Thunderbolts are tied up and Bucky's waiting to use them as a by-the-book testimonies against Val, seeing that he's a newly appointed member of Congress and just wants to do it the right way. But it's right here that Bucky reveals that John's wife had left him and taken their kid with her. This comes as a bit of a surprise because John had mentioned that he has a loving wife and kid at home. So in this moment, Yelena turns to John and just looks at him, but not in a judging way, not to say, wow, this guy is such an asshole, but with overwhelming empathy. Florence Pugh gives a look here that I would say even rivals Robert Pattinson's glares in The Batman. And the best part of all is that Jake has the guts to let us sit in this moment, sit in that depressing revelation, to empathize with John and to feel empathy with Yelena. Yes, we've seen John be a dick in this film, but we know that deep down in his heart, the guilt and sorrow of losing his wife and kid is eating him up, and the only way that he can cope with that is by being the best mercenary he can be, because
I dedicated my life to your mandates. I only ever did what you asked of me, what you told me to be, and I did it. And I did it well.
And as we cut back to John, all he could respond with is a simple, empty, and obviously disingenuous shrug, as a last attempt as if to say it doesn't bother him, but we, Yelena, even John himself know otherwise. Like, damn. Just sit in that for a minute. How the fuck did Jake Schreier and Joanna Kalo manage to pull that off? They took a character from a Disney Plus exclusive show that I'm sure half of you didn't even watch, thrusted him into this movie and filled him with so much pathos that I didn't even know was possible. Like, if you didn't care about him before, you sure as hell do now. And this could be said about pretty much every single member of the team. I would say only except for Bucky. Now, before you guys hit the comments section, I'm not saying that Bucky's a weak character in this film, not even in the slightest. It's just that we already care about Bucky, so he served a different purpose in this film than the rest. You see, they kind of flipped the script on the way that Bucky's usually handled. He's the Winter Soldier, this Hydra sleeper agent that became a superhero, and he's shoved in this situation where he needs to show this group of criminals the same empathy that Steve showed him. He's the villain that changed his ways and now must guide this group into becoming heroes just as he was once guided. It's a short but really clever and really effective arc for his character in this film that serves the themes of redemption and purpose perfectly. But you know the character that I love the most in this film? It's Yelena.
I love that guy.
I love that they aren't afraid to show how badly she's hurting inside. I love that we see her continuously choose to have the team's back and to be the goalie of our Thunderbolts. I love that instead of pressing Bob about what happened in her mind after the first Void flashback, the first thing that she asked Bob is if he is okay. She's the first to show compassion to everybody around her, even if she herself is the most desperate for somebody to offer her that same compassion. She holds all of her pain inside and pushes it down as far as she can, but when she finally lets it all out to Alexei under the overpass,
We all have things that we regret.
But I have There's so many.
It's heartbreaking and it makes us feel. And I just gotta say real quick, this character wouldn't be half as good without Florence's generational performance in this movie. Like, call me crazy, but I think that Florence is doing for the character of Yelena that RDJ did to the character of Tony Stark. It's the small mannerisms and habits that she adds to Yelena's character that is so charming and makes her character so much easier to become attached to. But it's the simple sentiment of this movie being able to make us feel again, which is why the movie feels so special, so nostalgic without needing the heartless nostalgia bait. Because these are the moments that we've been starved of for years. These characters finally allowed to show their pain, their suffering through the lens of these incredible artists that are finally able to make the movie that they want to make. That's why it feels so disheartening when they make a special trailer promoting the people behind the film, because every film that comes out of Marvel Studios should be celebrating the artists behind them. It shouldn't be a one-time occurrence. It should be the norm. And at one point it was. It gives the impression that every modern MCU film before this one was just a studio suit mandated slop that limited the expression of the artists that were crafting those films, the artists that clearly cared so deeply for the movies that they were making. Watching the behind the scenes of this movie, seeing its ensemble cast being trusted with these incredible practical stunts, set designers, stunt coordinators, producers, all pushing towards making Jake's vision come to fruition, it has the same magic as watching a young Jon Favreau and Robert Downey Jr. crafting their vision of Iron Man, as seeing Joss Whedon craft his vision of the Avengers. No reshoots 3 months before release, no sense of 4 different scripts being stretched across 7 different writers and 5 directors that all became some sort of amalgam of a story. Just some real ass shit. Real ass shit that handles real ass shit with some real ass respect. Abuse, trauma, loneliness, suicidal thoughts. These aren't themes that I ever thought I would see in a modern day MCU flick, or at least wouldn't see handled with this much nuance and respect. The fact that Bob had to come face to face with the personification of all of these themes, the personification of his own pain and suffering, and literally beats it into the floor is such a cool idea. What's even cooler is that it doesn't even resolve the conflict. It's only when Yelena, John, Bucky, Alexei, and Ava all show up for him, are all there with him while he's fighting these emotions, only then is the void suppressed and the day saved. They don't beat the void, because in real life you can never fully beat those feelings. They will always haunt you, some days more than others, but they will always find a way to present themselves. It's only when you have people that you can lean on, talk to, friends and family that love you to help you through those tough times, that you can learn to control those emotions and conquer your void.
And even if it doesn't make the emptiness go away, I promise you it will feel lighter.
How do you know?
Because it already has for me.
Alright, that's the end of the video. Whether you could tell or not, hopefully you can't tell. I've never made a video like this, nor have I written a video essay or anything really of the sort. After seeing this movie, I just needed to get this off my chest. So I implore you, if you haven't already, go and see this movie. It's such a breath of fresh air and struck me so deep because these themes are so real, and just watching the way that they crafted this movie, I really felt like a kid again, watching an actual meaningful MCU movie. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and go watch Thunderbolts because that movie was incredible. I'm probably gonna go watch it again right now. So yeah, peace out.